Well, each week we are showing you the issues in and around the community, like here in Hillsborough County, from the rapid growth in the eastern and southern parts to the impact on the environment. It's been nearly 20 years since a fertilizer facility in Riverview spilled millions of gallons of sludgy wastewater, killing wildlife and hurting the surrounding area. So is there an environmental threat to the community right now? That is the big question. 10 Investigates Jenna Bourne combed through the latest data and documents to find out.
We found EPA data that shows the Riverview facility has had significant violations in the past few years. Some neighbors tell us they worry about what that could mean for their health.
I was born and raised here. My parents were one of the first families that moved in here in 1960.
Twanda Bradley has deep roots in Progress Village. Now she's president of Progress Village Civic Council. Living in this historically Black community means being neighbors with the Riverview fertilizer facility and the phosphogypsum stacks that come with it.
It's uncomfortable. We don't know if it has or is impacting our health.
Phosphogypsum is a waste product for manufacturing fertilizer for food production. It's stored in massive piles called stacks. In Riverview, the East Gyp stack, which is closest to Progress Village, is the active one. The West stack, which is closer to the waterway, is inactive. That means phosphogypsum is not being stacked there anymore, but some processed water is still stored on top. Dr. Matthew Pazek is a USF professor of geoscience. He says the biggest risks to health and safety come when gyp stacks are not closely monitored.
If leaks happen, then the groundwater or water that people drink may be contaminated. If the gypsum starts blowing around, it might be inhaled as part of dust.
You probably remember phosphogypsum stacks were big news in March 2021 when a tear in a reservoir liner at the Piney Point gyp stack caused panic over a potential collapse. To prevent a crisis, crews discharged more than 200 million gallons of untreated wastewater into Tampa Bay.
We really feel terrible that this happened.
Long before that, in 2004, heavy rain from Hurricane Francis caused a rupture in a reservoir at the Riverview facility, then owned by Cargill Fertilizer. Millions of gallons of sludgy, acidic wastewater emptied into Archie Creek Canal, Hillsborough Bay, and surrounding wetlands.
We ended up running 150 traps, and every crab in the trap was dead.
The spill killed thousands of fish, crabs, and other aquatic wildlife. It also harmed wetland habitats and seagrass beds. Since then, the facility has changed hands to Mosaic. The company's public affairs manager, Jackie Barron, says Mosaic made changes to prevent disaster during another hurricane.
So now our gyp stacks have what's called a double dike system, so a secondary containment system to better control storm surge and protect against erosion. None of our gyp stacks have had any issues during hurricanes in the past nearly 2 decades.
We looked through Florida Department of Environmental Protection reports and found that Mosaic has reported at least 4 liner repairs at the Riverview facility so far this year.
We didn't know that there were some liner concerns. We didn't know.
Were those liner tears communicated to the surrounding neighborhoods?
Those particular liner tears were not at the base of the stack. They were at the upper sections of the stack and thus above the water table, and there were no off-site environmental impacts. If there were a situation where we had an environmental impact, we would also do outreach to the community.
Barron says Mosaic participates in regular Riverview Community Advisory Panel meetings to keep the community informed. According to the Environmental Protection Agency's analysis, the area surrounding the Riverview facility has characteristics toward the highest end of environmental justice concerns that the EPA monitors, including ozone, air toxins, cancer risk, and toxic releases to air. Should people who live nearby be worried about their health?
They should not be worried about their health. We are constantly monitoring and measuring.
EPA data shows the facility has had significant violations within the past few years. The feds also report Mosaic has been fined nearly $69,000 in penalties from formal enforcement actions related to Riverview in the past 5 years. Barron says those violations tend to be growing pains as Mosaic adjusts to new regulations.
It's constant state of improvement. And as you work through that, it may come with some violations and that we will work to address.
In February of 2021, environmental organizations across the country sent this petition to the EPA requesting improved oversight of waste produced by phosphogypsum facilities. The EPA denied their request. Reporting in Riverview, Jenna Bourne, 10 Investigates.
And we should mention here that late last month, Mosaic reported a possible tear in its gypsum stack liner at its new Wales facility in Polk County. That sparked concerns that contaminated water could pollute the environment. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection tells 10 Investigates that right now investigations are ongoing, but so far there's no data indicating a breach of the walls and no discharges to surface water.